You ever notice how some truths arrive quietly, almost politely, yet still manage to rearrange the air in your lungs? That's exactly how it felt the moment my fingers brushed the postcard, an innocent little rectangle that should have meant nothing. But the moment I touched it, something inside me locked up, like the world had paused just long enough for my thoughts to frost over. Because the image on the front wasn't a place from our Earth, it couldn't be. Not with the blackened skyline, not with the zeppelins casting shadows like scars across the sky, not with the soldiers patrolling ruined streets in uniforms that history says should have disappeared decades ago. And yet, deep down, some part of me whispered, what if this world never stopped fighting? What if the war never really ended? I didn't want the answer, but the postcard offered one anyway. The city that never learned peace. At first glance, the image looked like a familiar European capital, but the closer you stared, the more wrong everything became. The year printed on the corner wasn't 2025. It wasn't 1945 either. It said 2037. Yet the world on the postcard was frozen in a war that should have ended almost a century before. Buildings stood half-collapsed, preserved not by time, but by the constant presence of conflict. Searchlights swept the streets like restless ghosts. Propaganda banners fluttered on every wall, cracked by wind and smoke. People moved through the roads not as citizens of a nation, but as survivors of a world that never learned how to stop fighting. It made me wonder how many generations had grown up never hearing silence, and then I saw it. Along the bottom edge of the postcard, barely visible beneath the faded print, someone had handwritten a message. If you're reading this, we're still trying. Trying what? Trying to escape? Trying to resist? Trying just to stay alive? You'd think a simple postcard couldn't make your heart tighten like a fist. But here we are. The war that outlived its soldiers. Living in a world where WWII never ended meant the alliances we know today never had the chance to exist. Technology advanced, but always with the same purpose: survival through firepower. Drones shaped like metal hawks circled the skies. Armored trains thundered through crumbling cities. And the front lines, they were no longer places on a map. They were rivers that swallowed entire generations. According to the notes on the back of the postcard, the conflict didn't stay among nations. It fractured into hundreds of factions, movements, governments, splinter groups, each claiming they were the ones who could finally bring peace by eliminating whoever they believed caused the suffering. But in a world raised on war, peace sounded like fiction. And here is the strange part. You wouldn't believe how normal it felt reading their description of daily life. People still had birthdays. People still fell in love. People still dreamed. Humans adapt far too well to things that should terrify us. A small break in the middle of chaos. One line on the postcard surprised me so much that I had to stop reading for a moment. We still make postcards, not because anyone travels, but because hope needs souvenirs. Funny, isn't it? Even in a world drowning in conflict, they still found room for small human rituals. A cup of tea in a bomb shelter. A smile exchanged during a rare moment of quiet. Someone teaching their kid how to tie a shoelace between air raid sirens. Those tiny things reminded them they were more than soldiers, more than citizens of endless grief. They were people, and they refused to forget it. The letter hidden behind the image. On the postcard, the handwriting grew more desperate, as if the author knew time was bending around their words. We've seen your world. We know peace is possible. Tell them. Tell anyone who will listen. We don't want to be forgotten. It hit me harder than I expected. Because the truth is, we spend so much time worrying about our own small problems, our own daily battles, that we forget how lucky we are to live in a world where the war did end. So when I read those final lines, something inside me shifted. If you are holding this, you are proof that somewhere, somehow, a version of us succeeded. I don't know how their postcard crossed into our reality. Maybe it slipped between the cracks of history. Maybe hope really is stronger than any border. But if they risked everything to send a message across worlds, the least we can do is honor it. Before you go, let me give you something back. If you stayed with me all the way through this, then I know something about you. You're not just curious. You care. You are the kind of person who sees a story like this and asks the questions that most people ignore. And that makes you part of the small, rare group that keeps stories like these alive. So thank you. Seriously. If I could send you a postcard right now, it would say, "You matter more than you realize." And if you want more worlds like this, more alternate histories, more impossible postcards, more narratives that make you feel something, then take a second and do something that genuinely helps this journey continue. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who loves stories like you do. You have no idea how much that helps. Whenever you're ready, send me the next topic.